Doom Eternal's blend of demonic apocalypse and futuristic science fiction makes it a game with seemingly no historical elements whatsoever. The game takes place in 2163, when a demon-hunting space marine teleports across worlds to fight Hell's invasion of Earth. But behind Doom Eternal's demonic apocalypse is the fascinating history of demonology and Christianity's war against demons who mostly turned out to be scientists and women who spoke their mind. I'm Dr. Darren Reid, and this is History Through Games, Doom Eternal Edition. Thank you for tuning in. I'm a historian at McGill University, and this is a video series I'm experimenting with where I use video games to explore complex historical themes and debates. Now, I really want this series, as it develops, to become a collaboration with all of you, so please let me know in the comments any of your thoughts on this video, or any suggestions for future videos or future games to play, so that I can shape this series around your special interests. Demonology is the study of demons and how to fight them, and it's central to the gameplay of Doom Eternal. The game is full of demons, from the standard imps and the regular arachnotrons to the devastating tyrants and marauders. Each demon has strengths and weaknesses that players must study and learn in order to defeat them and finish the game. Players must therefore become demonologists themselves, studying demons' behavior and identifying weaknesses on their bodies. And although most players don't realize it, these are very much behaviors that real people did in real life, specifically between the years 1300 and 1600 of the Common Era. The belief in demons is itself ancient and is shared across many religions from around the world, including Buddhism, Judaism, and many indigenous religions of North America. But the practice of studying demons for the practical purpose of fighting them can arguably be traced back to the year 1326, when Pope John XXII issued a papal bull known as Super Ilius Specula. Prior to Super Ilius Specula, demons were not really believed to exist in the physical realm. They existed in hell, but they had no power to influence physical reality, a power that was believed to exist in God alone. What Super Ilius Specula did was for the very first time condemn and punish the worship of demons, because it was believed to be linked to witchcraft. The sudden anxiety about demonic activity and witchcraft was partly linked to increasing popularity of sciences, particularly alchemy and astrology, which some people believed to gain their power from demons. But Pope John XXII was also personally concerned that demonic activity was being used to assassinate him. He was already in his 80s, and he knew that many bishops were waiting for him to die so that a new pope could be chosen. John was also angry that some people were calling him the Antichrist and representing him in art and in literature as a demon himself. So to maintain his own popularity and his own control, he had to represent himself as a tough on demonic crime type of pope. However, in order to prosecute people for committing demonic crimes, the church first had to define what exactly demonic activity was, how it worked, and how to fight it. And that led to the study of demonology. The first demonological studies were primarily focused on theorizing what demons were and how they influenced the world. Believing that the devil himself had no power to influence reality, and that such power existed in God or heaven alone, the church theorized that demonic influence or demonic power had to be developed through a ritual, a satanic ritual, where priests or other religious figures channeled some of God's power into hell. Identifying satanic rituals therefore became the cornerstone of prosecuting demonic crime. And then there's the matter of defining what exactly a demon was and how it influenced the world. Classical understanding is that demons are fallen angels, But angels have no bodies, so the church theorized that demons have no bodies and can only exert influence on the world by possessing the bodies of people living. But prosecuting someone for being possessed was difficult, and what the church needed was a practical handbook of how to investigate and prove demonic possession. And that led to the second phase of demonology, writing handbooks for prosecuting witches. One of the first demonological handbooks was the Malleus Maleficarum, written in 1486. The Malleus Maleficarum was split into 3 sections. The first examined the nature of demons, the second gave examples of demonic activity and how to fight it, and the third specifically focused on the killing of witches, and particularly on the judicial process for trying a witch, or witch trials. The purpose of this section was to enable judges to prosecute and convict witches without having to determine the correct legal procedure or minutia every single time. For nearly 100 years after the publication of the Malleus Maleficarum, demonology remained fairly unpopular. But around the 1580s, in response to ongoing warfare and increasing hunger in Europe, demonological studies exploded in popularity to blame society's problems on a select group of people. And there's a whole slew of demonological handbooks from this period. For example, there was A Dialogue of Witches in 1575, On the Demon Mania of Witches in 1580, The Discovery of Witchcraft in 1584, The Theatre of the Witches in 1586, The Treatise on the Confessions of Male and Female Witches in 1589, and finally, the massive 6 books of investigation into magic in 1599. But just as witch trials reached their climax in the second half of the 17th century, interest in demonology began to decline. Intellectuals began looking to newly developing sciences to explain society's problems, and began openly ridiculing demonologists. Thomas Hobbes, for example, in his book Leviathan, dedicated a large portion of the book to the study of demonology, and famously called the church the kingdom of darkness. Eventually, throughout the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries, demonology became the fictionalized version used in games like Doom Eternal and many horror movies, instead of the serious academic judicial study of demons that it was between 1300 and 1600. So there you have it. Doom Eternal may be a work of science fiction, but its use of demonology connects it to the long history of demonology in human history. But what do you think? Do you think games like Doom Eternal are useful for exploring histories of things like demonology? And what do you think of demonology itself? Do you think we can dismiss it as absurd nonsense? Or do you think it's useful to locate it within contemporary concerns or anxieties like Pope John XXII's fears of being assassinated, or people's concerns about religious warfare or hunger? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I want this series to become a collaboration with all of you, so please give me any feedback you have, any suggestions for games to play in the future, and I look forward to working on them in the weeks to come. That's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Farewell!